This is being recorded for Liberty University History 701. Hello again, everybody. I'm checking in. This week I was started by looking at what a blog looks like, and I found several good blogs several weeks ago and just had time to go back through one of them. I ended up on a topic of international finance, which led me to the Project Muse site, and then I was plugging in some books and articles in there to find them that they were referenced on this blog. So it was pretty good, very easy to use Project Muse. I found the chapters were outlined, the ones I wanted specifically were available, so I didn't really have to read the whole book and do research that way. I could just basically go to the chapter and boom. So it's going to start out with this blog that was talking about international finance, and the topic that came up was the financing of the Louisiana Purchase. American history books say we bought it for $15 million. It's the biggest real estate deal ever, blah, 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 blah. But if you look myopically at the deal, it's very interesting. First of all, the French had to agree on what the value of a dollar was. The deal was not done in US dollars. It was done in French francs because it was the stable currency at the time. The 15 million was actually a figure closer to 80 million francs, of which 60 million of it was a finance deal, and the other 20 million was pretty much debts that were owed to United States from France anyway. So it's kind of a big exchange program. But how it went down is fairly fascinating as far as from my perspective. First of all, the United States government doesn't have anywhere near $15 million. As a matter of fact, their largest expenditure at this time period is going to pay off Barbary pirates. We don't have a navy, and these guys were holding a lot of our shipping captains for ransom. And that's where John Adams decided instead of spending the money on war, we'll just spend money buying our people back. So it comes down to that's kind of a part of the financing deal. The other part of that was kind of interesting is France and England just recently, 1802, had taken a hiatus from their war, if you will. And so Alexander Barings, one of the largest banker financiers in England at the time, was able to sneak down and talk to Napoleon, and he basically bought all of the bonds that the United States was issued to pay for the Louisiana Purchase at about 87.5 cents on the dollar. And then he took those and marked them back up to 100% and then sold those to the English public, as well as wealthy Americans too. That's kind of interesting fact anyway. So he was the one that actually made all the money on the deal, the Barings Bank of England. With that said, and kind of a prenuptial of where we're headed to with this week is international finance is very interesting as far as I'm concerned. And it brought me to Project Muse, and I found three really good articles. The first one was written by Benjamin Cohen. It's called Currency Power, Understanding Monetary Rivalry. 3 chapters in it, really easy to research. The first was the Dutch Guilder. It explains how the Dutch came to power in the 16th century and the 17th century, and the world trading was done with the Dutch Guilder. Then that's going to move over to the Spanish-Mexican peso for pretty much the 18th century. The 19th century is going to belong to the English pound, and the 20th century is going to belong to the U.S. dollar. A lot of people don't know that the U.S. dollar now is pretty much pegged to a barrel of oil. So really, our monetary value comes down to Saudi Arabia. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. The next article was the currency history, the money and group of ideas of progress. That's this article right here. This lady brings up a pretty interesting point to me. She comes up with the point that dollar is the lesser the value because you say, I would rather have this article instead of money. So of the two items, anytime you make a transaction, money is the cheaper value. You think, oh, I'm getting a deal out of this one. So she brings that and puts that into perspective on the grander scale of international finance. And I thought that that was kind of an interesting perspective. Time's up. You guys have a great weekend.